There's no denying that the script is one of the most important aspects of a film. It's the source of the story, characters, and great lines of dialogue that hopefully will form a strong connection with the audience. But the screenplay is more of a guideline than anything else. There are no rules that state directors and actors need to stick to what's on the page. Filmmaking is a fluid, creative process, and ideas can be thought up on the spot. In fact, some of the most iconic movie moments were ad-libs. Here are 10 memorable movie scenes that were completely improvised. Bad Boys 2. Improvising has become a staple of the comedy genre, and you'd be hard-pressed to find two funnier action stars than Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. The two headlined the Bad Boys films and used their talents in a hilarious sequence in Bad Boys 2, where Mike and Marcus harass a teenager looking to take Marcus's daughter out on a date. Dennis Green, the actor who played Reggie, was told to not look or speak with Lawrence when he arrived on set, so he was scared of him. And nobody told Green that Will Smith was going to pull a gun on him. It was all in good fun, but Green didn't seem to be laughing. Django Unchained. Few actors are as dedicated to their craft as Leonardo DiCaprio, and the now Oscar winner will stop at nothing to get a scene right. He doesn't even let personal injury stop him. While filming Django Unchained, DiCaprio cut his hand on a piece of glass after slamming a table. He started to bleed, but remained in character, delivering his monologue. He even incorporated the wound in the sequence, smearing his blood-soaked hand all over Kerry Washington's face. It was pretty amazing to watch, and Quentin Tarantino was left with no choice but to put that take in the finished film. Leo may not have been nominated for this role, but he left a strong impression. Aladdin. Robin Williams was one of the greatest comedians who ever lived, full of energy and non-stop enthusiasm. That's what made him a perfect choice to play the genie in Disney's Aladdin, where he was the clear star of the show. Williams improvised so much during recording that the team ended up with nearly 16 hours of material with which to work. Williams' performance even hurt Aladdin's Oscar chances. So many of the genie's lines were ad-libbed that the script was turned down for a Best Adapted Screenplay nomination at the Oscars.
You're a lot smaller than my last master. Either that or I'm getting bigger. Look at me from the side. Do I look different to you?
Best of luck to whoever takes over the role in the remake. You have huge shoes to fill. The Empire Strikes Back. The scene where Han Solo is frozen in carbonite is one of the most heart-wrenching in the entire Star Wars saga, but the filmmakers had a hard time getting the dialogue right. Han Solo's reply to Princess Leia's declaration of love went through several iterations, many of which failed to capture the spirit of the character. It was Harrison Ford who ultimately suggested the now famous line, "I know," and the rest is history.
I love you.
I know.
It's a moment that's become the stuff of legend and is now even plastered on Star Wars-themed couples merchandise. Who knew not saying "I love you too" could be so romantic? The Dark Knight Rises. Bane is a vicious villain who threatens Gotham with a nuclear apocalypse, but even he can appreciate the talents of a fine singer. Shortly before blowing up Gotham's football stadium, a young child sings the national anthem. Bane, hidden from sight in a tunnel, remarks, "That's a lovely, lovely voice." It's a line that got a chuckle from audiences, and they have Tom Hardy to thank. Per the film's producers, the actor improvised the line on the spot. Christopher Nolan was obviously a fan and let his bad guy provide a brief moment of levity before returning to his more terroristic ways. Ghostbusters. When you combine the comedic minds of Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis, improvisations are going to happen. While filming the original Ghostbusters, almost none of the scenes were shot as scripted, and many included at least one or two ad-libs.
I order you to cease any and all supernatural activity and return forthwith to your place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension. That ought to do it. Thanks very much, Ray.
One of the more noteworthy examples of this was the scene in which Louis Tully is interacting with his party guests, where he comments on things such as the price of salmon. What makes this sequence all the more remarkable is that it was all one continuous shot, which meant everyone had to be on their game to not ruin the take. Fortunately, Rick Moranis was in control and made many people laugh. Casablanca. It's one of the most well-known lines in cinematic history. Here's looking at you, kid. Rick's farewell to Ilsa is so perfect and memorable, it had to have been scripted in the equally acclaimed screenplay, right? Nope. Humphrey Bogart improvised that bit of dialogue during the Parisian scenes that take place earlier in the film. It worked so well that it was used throughout the movie, including its climactic sequence. Bogart first uttered, "Here's looking at you, kid," for his 1934 vehicle Midnight, but its use in Casablanca is what many cinephiles remember. In fact, the AFI named it the 5th best line of dialogue of all time. Full Metal Jacket. It's a misconception that R. Lee Ermey ad-libbed much, if not all, his dialogue in this Stanley Kubrick war drama, but some improvisation did take place. Though the actor worked with the director to make the screenplay more believable, Ermey did go off script at times, including the famous disciplinary scene where he shouts insults at the soldiers. Most notably was the instance where he told Private Cowboy that he was the type of guy who would have sex with another man and not have the courtesy to give him a reach around. When Kubrick learned what that was, he thought it was funny and kept it in the final cut. The Wolf of Wall Street. Perhaps the sequence of this Martin Scorsese flick is when Jordan Belfort has taken way too many lemons for his own good and is basically incapacitated as he tries to make his way back to his car. The director claims that it was improvised on the day of filming, with Leonardo DiCaprio suggesting the famous stunt where he opens the door with his foot. The actor strained his back during shooting and could only pull off the act once, so luckily Scorsese got everything he needed in that take. This whole scene was a sublime illustration of the Wolf of Wall Street's dark comedy, and it's great to know it was as fun to film as it was for us to watch. Saving Private Ryan. When Private Ryan is upset by the fact he can't remember his deceased brother's faces, John Miller tells him that he needs to think of a context or a memory that involved them. Ryan goes into an amusing story that involved his brother and a girl who hit every branch on the ugly tree. As it turns out, that whole bit was improvised by Matt Damon. A telling sign that it wasn't in the script is when Tom Hanks glances off camera, looking at Steven Spielberg to see if they should keep rolling. Fortunately, Spielberg let Damon complete the monologue, and a moment of heartfelt humor was injected, right before a harrowing battle. Those are our picks for memorable improvised movie moments. Are there any we missed? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more fun videos.